Evening all, welcome to the Bobby Moore stand. He's here, Potter's here. We're all happy about it. We're going to Villa tomorrow. It's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. Chris, did you catch the training video from Rush Green?
Yeah, I did. Came out about an hour ago, didn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen it, give it a watch because everyone's walking around with a smile on their face. You know, similar to my good self today. I've been walking around with a smile on my face. Not you, Chris. Not you. You not so much. But you know,
True.
It's really nice. And the one thing that made it really entertaining for me was watching that clearly lunatic Bruno geezer, who's his pitch side number 2 or his number 2, is clearly a screw loose there. You know. I think we're going to enjoy him. I think we're going to enjoy him big time. Right up our street, we like a maverick, we like a nutter, don't we? So
love a nutter.
Yeah.
We don't have enough of them at West Ham, so we don't have any at West Ham at the moment, do we? So no, we need one in definitely.
That's right. Bring them on. Bring on the nutters.
Yes.
So everything's been positive, isn't it? So you looked at his first video this morning and the various different videos that have been released today. You reflected a lot in your video that you released earlier, and he comes across as deeply intelligent, thoughtful, with a clear idea of what he wants to do.
Yeah, he does.
Strange.
I was really, really almost say surprised, a little bit surprised, Gal, because for me, it was the energy, it was the way he's coming across. I mean, of course, when you join a new club, you want to come across as enthusiastic and everything else. But I think he just come across as naturally, like, I don't know, just really up for the challenge. And he addressed all of the key problems that we actually have right now. Very articulate. Mate, honestly, I was really impressed by his by the presser earlier on today with all the media. I thought he was fantastic, mate. Really good. Let's hope he can actually deliver, on the pitch. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Well, I think he will, but we've got to be patient with him. I don't think anything's going to happen overnight. I don't expect us to go to Villa and win tomorrow, but one training session ahead of it. But maybe it's time to get them a little bit more organised than they were. Who knows? But you never know. You never know. For stranger things have happened. He said earlier that he's going to Villa to win. So what are you going to do?
Did you notice though, Gary, with that training video that you referred to? For me, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm seeing something that's not actually there, but I'm sure I'm not. They just seem to have a bit more zip, in that video. They looked happier. Caduce looked like he was on fire. Some of those shots he was bashing in. Do you know what I mean? He looked really happy, and I don't know. The whole place just seemed a bit more of a happier. It just seemed like a happier training ground, didn't it? Like the camp just seemed a lot more happier. And it's about time because I don't think I've actually seen that this season. They've just been very kind of like same old. But it just, I don't know, lifted my spirits a bit watching that today. Really did.
Yeah, me too. Well, everything's lifted my spirits, to be honest. I think the dissent in the fan base, there wasn't much of it anyway, to be fair. There was the odd person who probably didn't know him that much and was going off what they'd seen at Chelsea. And look, we all do stuff like that. We form our own opinion without doing any sort of research. But the thing is, I had done some research. Beforehand. So when we were looking a few months ago at the available options, I didn't really consider Carrick an option because it would have cost to get him out of there, and we know Sullivan's position on that, right? So when you looked at the freebie options, he was my pick.
Yeah.
So I'm delighted that we've got him because I think he is a top quality manager potentially for us, potentially the perfect marriage of the time when we need someone like him and the time when he needs a club like us.
Yeah.
And this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. I think reflecting upon the Lopetegui bunch of errors, was an article Guardian with Jacob Steinberg today, and Jacob Steinberg, credit to him because he totally nailed the situation. And even the fans' feeling and everything, literally encapsulate the full story from end to end. So if you haven't seen that article, people in the chat and people watching, go and give it a look because it's brilliant. It's brilliant. That's a guy that understands the situation.
Really good article. That was really good. Yeah, I think he nailed it, didn't he? Really, absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, he did. I was put right on him today, by the way, because I said, "Oh, it's another Sullivan mouthpiece." It's not. Apparently, he's not. So, and you can tell by reading that he's not. It's it was a terrible mistake, a terrible mistake. And when you look at the list of West Ham managers over the years, ordered by least time served to most time served, 3 out of the bottom 4 least time served as West Ham manager were appointed by Sullivan and Gold.
Yeah, yeah,
That is amazing.
No, well, it's amazing, but it's not surprising, is it?
No, it's crap. It's crap. But then again, the whole thing was crap. I'm going to make a video tomorrow morning and sort of go into, again, this is going to be my final adios to Lopetegui, because I was given some information about goings on, and I'm going to dig into that a little bit. But then that's it. Package that up, throw it away. But yeah.
Speaking of Lopetegui, Gal, sorry to interject there, mate, but the thing with Lopetegui yesterday that kind of got my back up a little bit. Now I want to kind of clarify a couple of points here.
Go on.
I think the way he was treated was absolutely disgusting. It was. I think the club should, hold their heads in shame the way they treated him as a human being. It was just completely wrong the way it was all dealt with. It really was. That being said, as I'm sure many people noticed, he put out a post on Instagram yesterday to say goodbye, basically. But actually, say goodbye, it was more a case of thanking the board, thanking the players for their commitment and the staff. And he failed to actually acknowledge the fans, right? And it just so happened that I was scrolling through LinkedIn when that post came up. So I caught it within the first 10, 20, 30 seconds. So read it, messages like, he ain't even thanked the fans here, right? Now, I know, look, don't get me wrong. I know the fans wanted him out. He knows the fans wanted him out. But we didn't want him out when he joined, right? We didn't want him, but we supported him. We backed him. It just so happened that he wasn't successful. But he didn't thank the fans. So as you know, I put a comment on Instagram. I was the first one to comment on Instagram. I said, no thanks to the fans then. And then what happened was he edited his post. So no one will see it now. He edited his post and he added on a little bit at the end and he hid my comment so no one can see it. And then he said, oh, and also I'd like to thank the fans, And I just thought to myself, good riddance, honestly, good riddance. Because the one thing that you do, regardless of whether or not the fans were hounding you out, you do say thank you to the fans. Because at the end of the day, there is no West Ham, there is no football club unless us fans are there, right? That's what makes the club. But to not thank the fans pisses me off. So I don't really care anymore. The guys walked out with a decent paycheck, I'm sure. I don't think he was treated right at all. I do feel for him in that respect. But come on, man, thank the fans at the very least. Do you know what I mean? You've got to do that, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You're right. You're absolutely right. And so, I mean, you're working on the proviso that you think Lopetegui writes his own tweets, yeah?
I don't know, mate. But all I know is that whoever wrote his tweets saw my. Whoever wrote his posts definitely saw my comment. Because they fucking got rid of that, and then they added the bit on the, so yeah.
And they hid your comment, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they hid it. There were a few people saying, "Well, why should he thank the fans?" I'm like, "Well, why shouldn't he? Why shouldn't he thank the fans?" I'm sorry, right? If you're gonna thank David Sullivan and the board, who've treated you like an absolute piece of shite, then you're going to thank the fans. I'm sorry, because the way they treated him was a hell of a lot worse than we treated him. Do you know what I mean? It really was. We wanted him to do well, Gal. I mean, Christ almighty, you and I were talking about it week on week, right? We're saying, all right, we give him 10 games. Do you know what? Give him a bit more time. Not happy. Yeah, maybe you should go. But we weren't literally saying, get rid of the bastard. We weren't, really piling into him. Not all of the fans were, so at least thank the fans. You got to do that,
Yeah, no. Of course you have. It's just childish to not do it, because I think I remember that David Moyes done the lap of honour, but I think in his goodbye mail, if I'm not wrong, I think he just thanked the board and for being so wonderful to him and everything else. Optimistic rather than excited around Potter. Well, excitement will come, Michael. Don't you worry. Excitement will come. Optimism leads to excitement when the optimism comes home, and it's coming home, Michael. It's coming home. The next thing for me is Sully gone, so I can go back to watch my team. Green Badge, you can come back and watch the team already, because Sullivan don't play and he doesn't manage. At least he shouldn't. This is the big thing for me, and that is because there's been all this stuff in the media about it's all over social media as well, about Stuyton even Steinberg said earlier about Stuyton's job being under scrutiny.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, is it? Is it? Because every video I watch, everything I see with moving pictures rather than a press report, a media report, has Stuyton looking happy. The players seem to like him. In this case, I know Lopetegui and him had a loving relationship to start with, but him and Potter look very happy. I hope that's genuine. I think what has happened, what Sullivan has set up for the last couple of managers, is an untenable situation for Stuyton to exist in, because it's two managers. Firstly, he couldn't do anything about David Moyes, which is why Sullivan kept him on, in my view. Right, it's just my view. I don't think there was anything to do with loyalty to Moyes. I think there's two reasons he kept him on. Number one is he likes a shield. He likes it when someone's slagging the manager off, because it means they're not slagging him off.
Yeah.
And number two, he likes to play this silly game of divide and rule and divide and conquer. So you got him and the manager, whoever it is, on one side, Stuyton and Kretinsky on the other side. Even though Kretinsky's off in the distance, you can guarantee that Kretinsky is talking to Stuyton on a regular basis, because it's his man. Yeah. It's who he hired. And the last thing Sullivan wanted was someone from the outside that he didn't ask for coming in and interfering with his transfer plans. So he's done everything to railroad Stuyton since he's been here and hinder. He hasn't let him. He hasn't experienced what it is to be a director of football at West Ham yet.
Yeah. Because
he's had no choice over the manager. He's not been able to direct the manager. He's not been able to pick all the transfers without the manager. So what's he done?
We always knew it was going to be an impossible task, though, because to have a director of football, working for David Sullivan, that's not something that he's used to. Sullivan, he's something that he's not willing to almost accept. So there's clearly an issue there, and as you're right, I think he is Kretinsky's man. But I do think that he's had a bit of a bad rap, like recently, if I'm being honest. I mean, yes, there's been a few signings that he is culpable and responsible for, but by and large, I mean, people can say, "Oh, yeah, he didn't get Kudus, he didn't do this," but well, actually, he did. I mean, he got those deals over the line. Do you know what I mean? He did. He's brought in some fantastic signings to West Ham. So I'm sorry, I don't think that he should be getting so much stick that he is. I don't.
See, I found that weird, right? Because as you know, I work in sales, right? And you don't win a sale by you don't win a deal by just going
identifying an opportunity.
By identifying an opportunity, right? Exactly. You've taken the words out of my mouth, right? You actually have to bring that opportunity home, and that's where the hard work is. That's why you get paid to do sales, because it's horrible and tough, and grueling, isn't it, Chris?
It is.
So
mate, yes.
so yeah, it's to say Noble picked Kudus. Noble might have picked Kudus. Everyone in the world, I think, knew that Kudus was good, but who was the man that flew over to Holland and come flying back with Alvarez and Kudus? He got the deal done. Nobody we've had on staff has got deals done like Stuyton has, and that includes, I mean, even Todibo. Todibo was much sought after. He went and got the deal done.
Well, it's true. I mean, if you look over the years, the amount of big names that we've been linked to, and we've had this conversation many times, but we never got them over the line. It was tiring just seeing us linked with big players, but never actually signing them. But actually, Stuyton is the only one that managed to get some of those big names over the line. He is.
Absolutely. It was always we tried, wasn't it? It was the old mantra. We tried. I'll
tell you what, Gal, imagine if Stuyton was here back in 2010 when we were linked with Neymar. Can you imagine? You might have got him over the line as well.
You see this, Mark Pendleton, who said it's my 70th birthday. You fucker, Mark. Right. Moyes will sign Souček for Everton for 50 million. Well, look, he's welcome to Souček for 50 million. I'd drive him out. Listen, I love Souček. He's committed and everything else. But I don't think he has a place in a football playing team. I've got to be honest. The style we play, I don't think it's going to suit Souček. But then again, don't rule Souček out, because every manager we've had since he's been in, that's two, has loved Souček.
Yeah, no, he's been pivotal. He's been pivotal to the team for both managers. You're right.
Yeah, but this time I think Potter's going to be able to see the wood for the trees and judge players on their merits, what they're good at, what they're bad at. That's apparently something he does pretty well. Put them in positions where it accentuates their good points and conceals their bad points, which is what you want, isn't it? Really?
That's what's needed, mate. I mean, I said this
Yeah.
earlier on today. That's going to be ultimately probably one of the first tasks he's got to do is to identify, actually who he wants to actually have in this squad and the team. Get rid of the dead wood, because there's a lot of dead wood here, but also playing players in the right positions, and getting the best out of our players, because we're just not getting that. Lopetegui just failed that, week on week on week. Paqueta regressed for whatever reason. Kudus completely on the decline. He has the odd good game or odd good half there, here or there, but not consistent like he was last season. So hopefully Potter can do that.
Yeah, no doubt that he can. But on Steiten and Lopetegui and that whole situation, the players you just mentioned, who have not, they ain't been playing well for some time. We're thinking Alvarez, Kudus, Paqueta, and others actually, and others. There is a reason for it, and I'm going to go into more detail in that tomorrow. I'm not going to go into it tonight.
I'll tell you that comment that Claire just made there, Gal. Potter said he wanted to see the players smiling, and so do we. Yeah, he did say that, but he also said he wanted to see the West Ham fans happy as well, and that's what I was really glad to hear, because we clearly haven't been happy for a long time with this crap, turgid football we've watching.
We've not been, and going back to building on what I said in my video yesterday about alternative techniques, alternative things that he tries, and it's like drama and ballet and stuff like that. There is another reason for it. It's not just fitness and balance and stuff like that that's football related. It's to grow the players as people, as characters, to develop their characters and to develop a team spirit, because team spirit is everything in a successful Potter side, and that is what he didn't have at Chelsea, right?
Yeah. And it's also what he didn't have. Well, Lopetegui didn't have here, because I don't think it was a happy camp.
No,
I think there might have been one or two players that were playing for him. Perhaps there might have been one or two players that liked him, but overall, from an overall perspective, I don't think it was an overly happy camp. I think there's a lot of people that weren't happy with Lopetegui, didn't understand what the hell he was talking about, didn't know what their jobs were, nothing. I mean, I think it was completely a disarray, the team this season. So I'm so glad that we don't need to talk about that anymore.
That's right. We heard before he came here that Loppy took the players out for dinner whenever they got a clean sheet, which I thought was a weird thing to do. Why don't you take them out after they've had a great win?
Well, he saved himself a few quid then, didn't he, this season?
Yeah, there ain't been many dinners, have there? How many clean sheets we had? It can't be many.
I don't know, mate. No idea. I can't even think, to be honest with you. Not many. But
going back to what you said earlier about Lopetegui, he was badly treated. And he was, right? He was. From a purely professional basis, what West Ham did is what you expect from West Ham at the moment, sadly. It's a circus. They don't know how to operate professionally. Yeah. And what they did there was just amateur hour. So that aside, talking about him personally, listen, this is a guy, if you read through that Steinberg article, this is a guy who is known for falling out with people, right? He is also a really strong disciplinarian. Somebody I was listening to, put it down to the Basque culture, right? In the Basque region, they take pride in their work. They do this and they do that, and it's like you got a task to do. Someone gives you your task, you get on with it to the best of your ability. That's all very well and good, but there's all sorts of other Basque traditions as well that don't really correlate with being a football player. A modern football player is usually a very rich young man with the world at his feet. You're not going to get away largely with treating. You know what I think it is at the moment? We've got a set of players who are they're not out of the very top drawer. When you talk about the very top drawer, you're talking about the players that exist at Real Madrid, at Arsenal and Chelsea and things like that, right? Sometimes with those teams, you need a disciplinarian to come in and really be strict with the players. And after Potter didn't do very well at Chelsea, didn't really have the chance to, they've brought the new guy in. He is an absolute dictator. And he's ruling with a rod of iron, and lo and behold, he's being successful. So I don't know whether it's to do with the kind of level of players we've got, which are just below the top level, in arguably, versus the very top level. But then again, you look back at other managers who have been really successful, like Alec Ferguson. He was really protective over his group of players, but he was a hard ass.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I didn't want Potter, says Mr. Hammer, but he spoke really well. Yes, he did. Came across a really nice and likable guy. The big one for me is he wants to use the academy and player system that will suit our players. And I did hear he was speaking to one of the well-known academy graduates today, one who's been sitting on the bench quite a lot. So he ain't wasting any time. He will use them if they're good enough. He will use them because the way it works, and I'm sure you've all done this to death by now, but it's a possession game, but not like Lopetegui. He wants to win the midfield battle and control possession of a football match, no matter who we're playing against. That means he'll adjust his system and his players to suit whatever opposition we're up against. And then if that don't work, he'll tweak it. That means he'll use whatever resources he has to use to make that a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was really impressed by him today. I really was. Yeah. And going back on the previous comment that you just had up,
by the way.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying that just now. Yeah, it was lovely to see, And going back on that previous comment you were saying about Potter today, I was like I said before, I was pleased that we were replacing Lopetegui, but I wasn't excited by Potter. But actually today, my mindset's changed a little bit. It has, because I really liked the way he came across. I thought he came across as a really professional, knowledgeable. And I think he really has identified for me from the offset where we're going wrong, and he covered everything in that interview. So let's just hope that he can address those problems. That's going to be the key. I really hope that he can do that, because for me, I'm back him 100%. And I said it on the video earlier today. We all just need to get behind the guy now. We really do, because one thing that we can all agree on here is that not all the fans have been agreeing on a lot of things. There's been a lot of kind of detachment, right? There's been a lot of fans saying one thing, fans disagreeing and saying something else. I just want everyone to get behind the club and the team now and say, do you know what? Let's give it 100% with our backing and our support for Potter, because whether people didn't want him, whether people did want him, he is the manager, and we all need to get behind him, mate. We have to, because I think it will only help. Let's put it that way. We don't need any more divides than we've had over the last couple of years. I'm sick of divides. I really am.
Chris, you're absolutely right. And another Chris says Potter said he appreciated the Bulls' professionalism. I think Potter has shown already his high degree of professionalism by saying how professional the Bulls are.
Jesus, yeah. That's the only thing I'm a little bit like. All right, mate.
It's PR. It's what he's got to say.
I know, but
it's his employers. After all, you'd say the same thing. You've all done
I don't know, mate. I don't know. He didn't have to say that.
Would.
No, he didn't have to. He didn't have to say that, Gal. He could have said, "I'm delighted to be at the club." He didn't have to say, "Oh, they were really professional," because we all know that they weren't.
But why get the backup of your employers? Who you're going to be going and who you're going to be hoping to treat you nicely?
But he wouldn't be getting their backups though, would he? Because he doesn't have to. He can kind of allude to it. He doesn't have to specifically say it. He can say, "I'm really happy to be here. I'm delighted that David Sullivan or the board or whatever have chosen me." He doesn't have to say, "I was really impressed by their professionalism." He doesn't have to say that. Are you
suggesting he should have arrived at his press conference on a unicycle?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, he should.
I think so.
100%. Yeah.
So any player that doesn't get behind Potter and give their all for the club should be sold immediately. I agree with that, Mark. Totally. I don't think there are going to be many, but there might be one or two. I think there's rumours today, this afternoon, talking of exits, that Füllkrug might be going to Eintracht Frankfurt, right?
Well, if he is, then I'll tell you what, we really need to get our arse into gear and get some signings in, particularly up front, as we know, in midfield and also in defence. We need a whole new spine, if I'm being honest, in my opinion. We do. But up front, mate, if we lose Füllkrug, we've got Danny Ings, for goodness sake. So we have to sign someone.
But do we need a whole new spine? When you look at our set of players through a different set of eyes, so you bring in Carlos Soler, and I know you bring in Guido Rodriguez. It's a simpler example. You bring in Guido Rodriguez, 45-year-old ex-World Cup winner, still playing for Argentina, etc., etc. Big, high-profile player, central defensive midfielder. You realise he's got no pace, but he's been brought in as a central defensive midfielder. Do you carry on playing him as a central defensive midfielder, knowing that he can't do it and he's going to fuck up and cost us goals, or do you find somewhere else where he can play?
Yeah, where else can he play though, Gal?
Well, I don't know, but this is what Potter does. I was listening to something earlier, and I was talking about Kilman going how skillful he is and how good with his feet, and someone said, don't be surprised if you find him playing up front, and because that's the kind of stuff he'd do. He'd turn a winger into a wing back. He'd do this. He'd do all this sort of stuff that we as fans You know, we sort of say Mavropanos can play right back. He looks really good going forward and stuff like that. But Moyes and Lopetegui had him in this like box of centre half. You're a big, tall centre half, big lump. That's all you can do. You know, there is. It's very likely that, for instance, Cresswell, who's used to playing a centre half in a back three, he's had quite a bit of experience in that. He might get that job. Bear in mind, the defence is not going to be as exposed with his midfield system as it has been for the last 2 years. So some of those players are not going to look as bad.
Well, we hope and we don't think that will be the case. But going back to your point about do we need a new spine, I would disagree and say yes, I think we do, because up front, okay, central midfield, we've been saying all season that we need someone with a bit more energy and legs.
We need a striker, yeah.
All right then, Gal. So striker, midfielder,
yeah.
And then you look at our defence, right? Okay, so we've got Kilman, we've got Todibo. Todebo's playing hot and cold. So is Kilman in recent weeks as well. I think we need to get someone in there. Just hear me out for a second. I think we need to get someone else there that is going to compete with them to a level where you just think they can get into that into that defensive partnership. They can either dislodge Kilman or they could get in, dislodge Todibo potentially, right? We need someone that's better than Mavropanos, and of course, unquestionably, we need a goalkeeper. So I'm sorry, that's a spine, mate. You're talking goalkeeper, centre back, dynamic box to box midfielder, and a striker. That's what we need, Gal. I'm not saying we're going to get that immediately, but long term, we have to have that.
Yeah. I agree with you. Honestly, Stighton is a deal maker, undoubtedly a pearl diver. Well, pearl diver, I don't think he's really had a chance. There are a couple of different types of team that you can be a director of football in, right? At Leverkusen, when they're building the dream and building the project and flattered for being up the league and challenging for it and then winning it, you can arguably say, and the same applies to Brighton, you could arguably say that they've got more room to bring in young players and try them out, because it's no disaster if they finish 11th or 12th, right? And progression might take a couple of years. With West Ham, it's slightly different because we're just outside the top six generally. We've got the players, if you look at our squad, the players who could be, they're on the cusp of being top six players as well, many of them. So we're shopping in a slightly different supermarket to what he's used to. I think when you're looking at pearls, you could say that Guilherme, which was another coup, believe it or not, he was the next big thing in Brazil, and you don't know, he might end up being. He might be that kind of pearl. And they're saying we paid 25 million for him. That's the total deal, right? We ain't paid any more than 10 up front for that guy. You know that. And the rest of it's going to be based on, probably, unless he scores a winner in a World Cup final for Brazil, we're probably never going to pay the full 25 billion. We're probably going to end up paying about 17, 18, I reckon.
Yeah, what you got in your hands there, Gal? You eating fish and chips?
No, I'm trying to find an article because there's a comment about Brady, right? There's a comment about Brady, and I hope we've got some season ticket holders. Yeah, here it is. I hope we've got some season ticket holders in the audience, because you're going to love this. You're going to absolutely love this. So, talking about Brady, Potter is a Brady influence signing, but of course I wish him all the best, Mr. Steadyhands. Now, I get your point, right? Usually anything that comes from Brady is no good with me. But look, I don't care. Her husband was a football player, a professional football player. He was one of his teammates. That's probably how she knows him. And they've stayed in touch since, right? But so that aside, if she's given a good reference to him, she's probably on the money. That's fine. She knows him. That's good. Safe bet, isn't it? But let me read something that she said. This is this week's private eye, if you're interested.
This is the point when I take my headphones out because I don't want to hear it, because I know exactly
No, you've got to hear it, because
I've heard it, mate. I know it.
You're a season ticket holder, right? You're a season ticket holder. So she was in the House of Lords, the one and only time I think she's spoken in the House of Lords, which was against the Football Governance Bill, as in bringing in a new governance model for football to oversee football. She wants all the football clubs to be left alone. So, and the reason she gave for it was season ticket holders. And I'm going to do it in an emotional voice, okay? So bear with me. It's what she said. It's very touching. It's very touching. It's all about, she told the Lords, season ticket holders are the beating heart of football clubs. They're not just customers, they are custodians of the club's heritage and identity. They represent generations of loyalty, support, and community spirit. And that beautiful. Now, in typical private eye fashion, they close with this stirring words. But try telling West Ham's fans who were left wondering where the club's community spirit had gone last summer when price increases were introduced. They were most angered by West Ham boss's decision to remove many of the season ticket concessions for pensioners and children. A petition against the price hikes amassed more than 20,000 signatures, and several black balloon protests were held at matches and continue to be, including tomorrow. Beautiful, that, isn't it? Beautiful.
How two-faced? How two-faced can you be? I mean, it's absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I can't believe she has the audacity to even say that, because you know that's going to be public news. As West Ham fans, you and I, we've read that, we've seen it. I mean, come on, that's just taking the piss, isn't it? You know, we know it's the complete opposite what's going on at the club right now. They don't see us as custodians, they see us as customers. We all know that. It's disgusting, mate. It annoys me hearing that. It does.
Yeah. No. Look at this. Stop it, Gal. No,
yeah,
I'm
in a good mood at the minute, Gary. And you're reading off that crap. It's not. It's depressing me, man. I don't want to hear that negative stuff.
Green Badge. It's important to hear what Lady Brady herself. Sorry, it's Baroness Brady now. She ain't just a lady anymore. She's Baroness.
Well, it's B Brady something. B standing for something else.
Yeah. So, how can you guys judge Guilherme? No, we're not judging him. We're not judging him at all. Have other people judged him, or is it? Oh, you're talking.
I did judge him, right? But what
did you judge him?
Yes, I did, because what's
he done wrong? What's he done to you?
No. What I was saying is that, bearing in mind with the amount of money we paid for him and the amount of substitutions that Lopetegui was making in games, like he was typically using 5 subs a game, he was very rarely using Guilherme. So I was questioning: is he good enough? Maybe he's not as good as perhaps we initially thought he was. Now, I'm not saying that I don't.
He's 18.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't think he's good enough. I think, maybe he has got potential. Maybe he is like a golden nugget, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Don't know that yet. But I'm not. That's what I was saying at that particular time. We just don't know, right? We don't know that. But I wasn't digging out saying he's crap. I was saying more so perhaps Lopetegui doesn't think he's good enough. Is all I was saying.
That is very possible.
But not that means anything, though. Let's be honest, because whatever Lopetegui thought was probably completely wrong every time. So he's probably going to be world class now. I said that.
I think what you're going to see, Lawrence, I'm hoping to see some good, entertaining football and love watching the team play again. By the way, it's fair enough what you just said. Nobody actually knows how good he's going to be. No one's writing him off. I'll take a slightly different view in that I've quite liked what I've seen so far. So I think there's a chance. But again, he's got to be played in his position in a system, not as an emergency substitute, in a system with a role.
Yeah.
By the way, I can't remember how he put it, but he said, Potter said he doesn't believe in formations. He doesn't care about formations. He believes in systems and something else.
Yeah, right? And switching it up basically when he needs to. Yeah.
Imagine Moyes v Potter if he goes to Everton. Honestly, he's going to destroy Moyes. You know he is. It'd be such a waste if I was Everton and I've got that beautiful, shiny new stadium, and then dusty old Moyes walks out to lead the team.
I love it, mate. I think it's hilarious. Well, it's either him or Mourinho, isn't it? They're the two guys linked with a job in a minute. And like I was saying the other day, with the whole kind of debacle that was ongoing with regards to Lopetegui, kind of knowing that he was going to get sacked. We were linked with Potter, but Potter hadn't signed up because he had the 6-month deal in front of him. I was worried that maybe he wouldn't sign. I was saying that to you. I said it on the video. I was worried that he wouldn't sign, because he would be looking at the club and thinking, what a joke of a club this is, right? In terms of how they're treating their current manager. How are they going to treat me, when the chips are down and, I suppose when he's under a bit of pressure. So I was really worried that, not Moyes, because you were the one that was calling out Moyes. I never, ever believed that he was going to come back. But I must admit, Mourinho worried me. A few of these names being touted around worried me. So I'm just glad that's put to bed. Totally glad now.
Chris, after Potter got the job, I slept beautifully that night. I didn't have to worry about Moyes anymore. It was wonderful. Craven says, I can't believe that Everton want Hibnob back. Hibnob pubes. Hibnob pubes? Back. Going into a brand new stadium with him as manager. Yeah, brand new and beautiful stadium, signalling the dawn of a brave new era. David Moyes. Oh, God. I feel, but well, look, to be fair, though, the home fans, of which there'll probably be half the number of season ticket holders, half of them, probably most of them will be new compared to the ones. They used to love him.
That's a bang on comment, that is, by the way, you just put up there. Absolutely bang on.
I feel that, so Jim Baker says, I feel that Lopetegui just had a grudge against someone. Like, yes, he did. And this is where I think between him and Sullivan and Moyes and Sullivan, they carried out a fucking assassination attempt on Tim Stein by refusing to use his players. And I include Moyes in this because for those of you that remember, Kudus couldn't get in the team. It took him 10 games to get in the team. Moyes kept putting him on the bench. And then the fucker done the unthinkable. Every time he was brought on from the bench, he scored. So not even Moyes could ignore him anymore. So he put him in the team. He carried on scoring. He got better and better and better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we might see maybe a rejuvenated Kudus in the coming weeks.
We will. I think we will face today.
Yeah, and I think we'll see it with a lot of players. New manager bounce. The players want to prove themselves to the new manager as well. And I've
softened to Kudus and Alvarez and all them. I'm going to explain why in the morning.
I have as well, Gary. I have as well.
Yeah.
I know why you have.
Well, you've seen it.
Yeah. I know why you have, but I have as well because I also think that this is kind of potentially it is the dawn of a new era. So maybe, even though that we know Paqueta and Kudus are likely to go, I think this now is an opportunity for them to really excel and shine for the second part of the season. Under a new manager, a new system, they can start again, I think, and put the last 6 months behind them. So I'm really hopeful that, Potter can get the best out of them. And hopefully it means we'll get a bit more bunts out of them as well when we sell them, because it's inevitable, isn't it?
It is. And look, this comment here where it says, wonder if Potter would have joined if not for... He didn't join West Ham for Brady. He joined West Ham for his career because he's seen as failed at Chelsea. Now he needs to re-establish himself. He's not going to get a job at one of the traditional Sky top six anymore. Maybe Spurs, probably not, right? So where's he going to go? What's the next tier down if you, again, with a club with enormous potential? I've got to be honest, and this is me being completely unbiased, I still think, and my dad always used to say it, I still think that West Ham are potentially one of the best supported clubs in this country. You only had to look at what happened around Prague. We have got, unfortunately, it lets the ball take the piss out of us. Of course it does, because they know how many fans we've got now. Otherwise, they'd have charged us more if they'd have known when we moved into the stadium in the first place, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's...
You're absolutely right, Gary. And it's easy to be biased when you're a supporter, of your own club, and you're going to say we've got the best fans in the country, the best support in the country. But I do think we're absolutely up there. No, I believe it because it's been proven. When we've been relegated, we still get sellout crowds, right? We could go down to the Championship or League One, and we'd still fill stadiums because our fans love West Ham. They do, And by and large, most West Ham fans, maybe not so much the newer generation, the really young fans, because they've maybe had a bit more success than we did, or certainly I did over the course of the last 40 odd years.
Yeah,
I think we would follow West Ham regardless. We always will do.
I love this comment from Chris Topper Lundell. Everton should be careful what they wish for. Damn right they should. Damn right.
Yeah. We can now say that, can't we?
Yeah. Careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for. Don't get rid of Dyche. But yeah, West Ham have got. We know it. We're in denial if we say this ain't true. West Ham have got huge untapped potential, and if there was someone with enough, money and permission from the bloody league to spend that money on West Ham, or a sensible owner who's going to grow us properly over a period of time, and implement a proper system like maybe Kretinsky will one day via a set of staff, not himself. If he does, if that were to happen, I think the sky's the limit. And I'll tell you what, it's a good investment as well. It's a better investment than Spurs, because you pay a fortune for Spurs. You pay a relative fortune for us, but you pay 3 times as much for Spurs.
Yeah.
Right. And how are you going to make a return? Because 19 out of 20 Premier League clubs are not making a profit. We're the exception because we don't have to pay for the stadium. That's neither here nor there. It just means the one bit of credit I'll give this board is they've been very sensible with the money. They've never got us into trouble in those sort of terms. Not like the previous lot. We would have been chucked out into League Two by now with under FF, whatever it's called, Financial Fair Play or PFR. If we had the Icelandics around now, can you imagine? So they have been careful custodians. Financially and commercially, they've run the club on a professional basis. It's the other stuff that's not professional.
Yeah, it's true.
No soft skills. No soft skills.
I like this question here, right? Gary and Chris, what would you consider a success of Potter this season, and what sort of progress does he need to achieve? Right. So, for me, I would say that for Potter to be successful this season would be top 10. And when I say top 10, I'm saying maybe 10th. In truth, I'm not expecting much more. If he can get higher than that, amazing. But I'm expecting that it would be successful for him to get top 10. To stop leaking as many goals as we have been this season is absolutely a priority, right? That's going to be another measurable that I'd be looking at. And I think on top of that, just making us look more of a kind of a cohesive unit with an actually idea and an understanding and an identity in terms of how we play. That for me would be a success in this season. I'm not expecting anything, but I'm not expecting us to get into Europe. I'm not. I think he needs time. He definitely needs time. So this season is just about, if you can get 10th place finish, I'd be happy, Gal, as long as I'm seeing a change in how we're playing football. Yeah. I'd be happy.
I don't even care about the league finish, the league placing. It's irrelevant to me as long as we don't go down, which we're not going to.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't care. It's no difference to us as fans whether you finish 14th, 10th, or 9th, right? Unless you finish 8th or above, you ain't got a chance of getting into Europe. Yeah. And at 8th, you have got an outside chance. At 7th, you've got a very good chance, right? So there is it just depends whether we're going to get a honeymoon period, whether we're going to hit the ground running. We do have some good, tasty games. It is well timed. There are some winnable games coming up for sure. What I hope out of the Potter reign is just one thing, and that is to be competitive.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick and fucking tired. I'll tell you, there's one time in Premier League history when I was getting a bit tired of it, and that was when Man United and Arsenal and those, the traditional top six, when they had all the money and all the players, and we literally couldn't compete with them. We were miles away from them on the pitch. They had like Thierry Henry and Pires and the Bergkamp and God knows it had every superstar played for them. And we had it was like Monopoly, and we had Whitechapel and they had Park Lane. It was a total unfair competition, and they just rolled us over at will most of the time. There was the odd exception, like when we beat Man U at home and stuff like that. Every now and then you get Di Canio turn Keown inside out and we beat them at our place. But as a rule, they'd turn up and just roll us over, right? And it was depressing. We were not competitive. And that's where we've been going under Moyes. Even though we were competitive for quite a while, we ended up being completely uncompetitive under Moyes, and Lopetegui just continued it. And I find that embarrassing. I thought those days were over, I thought those days were over of Arsenal coming to East London, fucking relaxing and going, getting a hatful of goals in the first half hour. It should not happen. Yeah. So that's what I hope, that we do not suffer those humiliations anymore. If we lose, we lose, but don't get humiliated.
That's the problem, though, as you say. I think with Moyes and also with Lopetegui, it's always been about playing the badge, isn't it, as opposed to the actual team. And it's been proven this season when you look at the likes of Man City, for instance. We turn up against Man City. We do. But then look at the other teams that have beaten them when they went on that barren run. They weren't playing the badge. They were going out and they were attacking those teams. But we always seem to respect those big teams too much. And it's ridiculous. Even if the team is not actually as good as it used to be, we still play the flipping badge every single time. I'm hoping Potter doesn't do that.
If you got, if you can get to the BBC website, get on there and vote for David Moyes to go to Everton. All right, that'd be great.
Great manager. Do you know what? A match made in heaven, that one is.
If Moyes does go to Everton, I'd urge everyone to follow and spam their fan channels. No.
It would be quite fun. It would be quite funny.
That era's over, but they will get him very quickly. This ain't the old days. This ain't. You see, when he went to Everton and saved them, they had no money. They were on their arse. In recent years, they've invested a small fortune in that squad over and over again for successive managers. They'll do the same with him, but he'll spend it badly and deliver a dross product. They won't put up with dross now if there's a load of money, because they're going to be paying more money to go into that stadium, right? They'll expect more. Right, okay, so Elon Musk. Oh, good God, Elon Musk. He's looking for a punch in the face. Yeah, he's looking to buy Liverpool. Does he know that it's like the most left-wing city in the country? I bet he don't. Successfully galvanise the team of fans. Yes, well said.
Bang on.
Rooney's looking for work. Yeah, he can carry on looking. Harry Potter. Well, I'll tell you what. If he is a wizard, then he needs to start that little You know, he said cast a spell and get us through Villa tomorrow, because that's a tough
Oh, it's a tough game, mate. But they've got a few injuries as well, though, Gal. You know, they have got a few injuries. I know McGinn's out for that game, and I think he's quite a key player for them. I know a bit about Villa because we did our homework on them at the beginning of the season. They're a quality team. They are. But you never know. Hopefully, we get that kind of new manager bounce. But, you know, one thing I want to just go back to, actually, we were talking about what our expectations were for, you know, Potter to, I guess, ultimately have a successful season, you know, second half of the season at West Ham. It's actually not unthinkable for us to get in Europe either, because there's such fine margins at the moment and the league is wide open. Let's be honest, it is wide open. So if we do get that new manager bounce and we also manage to bring in some reinforcements in the January transfer window, then you never know, mate. It could happen. But I'm also a realist. I think top 10 would be good, but you couldn't rule it out. I mean, if you look at the league at the moment, right? Bloody hell, Nottingham Forest, what are they, second, third? Incredible. Incredible. And if you look on paper, do they have a better squad of players than us? No, they don't. They absolutely don't. No. So it just goes to show that if you get the right manager in charge and he can get the best out of his players and he can add to that during January, who knows? Do you know what I mean? We could have almost like the complete opposite of what we've had for the first 6 months of this season going into the second half of the season. It could turn around drastically. Can you imagine the feeling? Can you imagine how that would feel? It'd be incredible, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't rule out, you know, if he does hit the ground running and we do get the honeymoon period, it's only a few wins between us and the top European spaces.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Yeah.
And it's all about momentum. If you get a bit of momentum, anything can happen. And you're right. There's the gap. You know, the fact that Forest are second, it suggests that it's like that season where Leicester won it, where you've got a load of teams at the top who they're still top teams, but they're faltering a little bit.
They're all bottling it, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from Liverpool,
yeah, anything could happen. Anything. Well, they lost to Spurs in the semi-final the other night, but I don't care about that, do they? Success would be to see a week in, week out improvement. Yeah, that's something we're all looking for. I think that we didn't get, Michael, with Lopetegui. There was literally no tangible improvement. You could no perceptible improvement from the first game to the 10th or 11th game. It was only that the one that threw us all off was the Newcastle away performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I was pleased with that. I mean, I think upon reflection, everyone was saying, well, Newcastle had an off day, but I do think we were good. I mean, in fairness to Lopetegui, he had 1.5, maybe 2 good games. But I think the Newcastle game in particular was one. I mean, we came away from that thinking maybe he's turned the corner. He didn't, as we all know.
I think it's on this comment. I'd like to go. I'd like under Potter to go into games expecting to get something. Recently, I've got used to expecting losses against big teams. Yeah, me too. I hate that because we went through, you know, love him or hate him, went through a couple of years where at home at least we had a decent record against the bigger sides, and apart from City, right? Mind you, we've done all right against them in the League Cup. We beat them at home in the League Cup, didn't we? So yeah, I agree with that. I want West Ham to have more bloody self-respect, and I mean the fans as well.
Yeah,
because I think we should. Going back to that thing about we are a big club, we are. We've got massive untapped potential, and if someone ever taps into that potential, it's going to be difficult to live with us. I think we could easily be the biggest team in London.
Gary, mate. Do you know what it is, though, mate? We've been conditioned. We've been conditioned for a long time now.
Poor relations.
No. We've been conditioned to watching shit football, and this is the reason why we don't have much expectation going into games now. We don't. You know, particularly under Lopetegui.
Even our song is defeatist.
Well, it is. We sing when we're losing. Like, do you know what I mean? We take the piss out of it because we're used to it, and we go into games thinking we're going to lose. But you're absolutely right. I mean, for me, it starts tomorrow, Gal. So we're travelling up there. Honestly, I really, really hope that the fans are 100% on it tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Proper on it, because that is the start. It's not just about Potter starting a new regime here. We almost need to start again as well and even get better. Do you know what I mean? Really get behind the team tomorrow so we can start off hopefully a winning run. Because if we beat Villa in the cup, you know, hopefully that could give us some momentum going into the Fulham game and, you know, subsequent games after that. So I'm really hoping that we can do a job on Villa tomorrow, because that would be such a huge lift for the club, wouldn't it? It really would be for the fans, everyone. It'd be amazing if we get a win tomorrow.
It really would. But I'll take a penalties win. That's fine. I'll turn it in, Gal. Listen, I can't remember what I said 5 minutes ago, Green Badge. You're going to have to remind me. But yeah, what's that about, Chris? Go on.
What? Turn it in, Gal. What?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about, mate.
Yeah, I was born in Hackney. So you were born in Whitechapel, Green Badge. Is that what it is? I don't know. But hopefully those days are over, Gary. Well, yeah, I hope they are as well. You know, that's the one bit that I find really disheartening about football, is the fact that even a lot of it. This happened with the stadium as well, because Look, I don't like the stadium compared to Upton Park. I loved Upton Park, and in hindsight, there's no way we should have supported that move. So park that. That's a caveat, right? My disclaimer. However, the new stadium, they have made some changes to it, and where I stand now, well, stand not sit, in the Bobby Moore stand behind the goal, it's about 10 metres different, 5 metres distance from the pitch to where I used to be in the old Bobby Moore stand. So the view's very similar. And also, when it's loud in there, it's really loud. When it's quiet, it's really quiet. I don't hate it like I did, but I think there's lots more that you could do to make it better if you owned the stadium, rather than leasing it and letting the fucking the landlords do what they want to it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the way they're doing this and just making it bigger and bigger and bigger and driving down the number of seasons to get older and everything else, but it's a bit crap. But yeah.
Very true, mate. Very true.
So have you right. So you got any questions in the chat? Any points you want to raise in the chat? We can talk about discussion points. How much time will Potter be at college as he took a new job before we gave him a job? What? How much time will Potter be at college as he took a new job before we gave him a job?
He was studying, wasn't he? I think during the. I think he was. Yeah, I think after he left Chelsea, I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks very relaxed, though, doesn't he? Looks very relaxed and
I think that 20 months out, mate, has done him the world of good. It has. You can see it. He looks like he's born again, mate. You know, he does. I've seen Potter in interviews before, but he just seemed to, as I say before, he had a bit more energy and zest about himself.
So much more confident, didn't he? More aware. Graham Potter is the course co-director for Certificate in Football Psychology, Emotional Intelligence and Leadership at the Professional Footballers Association. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, that's not a bad thing to be a co-director in, is it? You know, of that course, because that's all really important to a footballer. Football psychology, obviously.
Of course it is, mate. Yeah.
You know, the fact that you play the badge, that is the football psychology of the fucking manager. It's defeatist. Emotional intelligence, yeah, obviously.
All this stuff is important nowadays, mate, because back in the day, when you talk about, you know, players' welfare and all that kind of stuff, it wasn't necessarily taken into consideration before. So having that actually can only be a benefit, I think, you know, so he can get and understand his players more so than perhaps the old school kind of managers back in the day, where it's just about get on the pitch and get on with it, you know. So I think it does help, you know, particularly in today's society.
No, I didn't know that, Trudge. Thanks for that. That's really interesting. We've got one in caps here. He's shouting. Zingy. I'd just like to say, go and watch the new training vid they released an hour ago. Yes, yeah, we've covered that already. It's very good. It's a very good watch. 20. Although with that video, I don't know if you realise, but at the beginning, the first player we met was Mavropanos, and I don't know, Mavropanos didn't seem like overly excited. He's probably thinking, he seemed polite.
He seemed polite, but he's probably thinking, shit, I hope Potter has not been watching my videos this season. Because if he has, you ain't going to get much of a look in, I don't think.
Would have been good is if you sort of walk in there and find Mavropanos stood behind a Donomite or something. Hello, everybody. Sorry, no, I shouldn't.
Tut.
Right, okay. With Potter here, when Kudus and Paqueta go, it doesn't make me feel this will weaken the squad as I thought it would have. Well, yeah, I think, Dan, that he will get Kudus back to playing again. He will be perfect for his system. He loves a winger.
Solly March, Mitoma, all of these players he brought through, right? You're absolutely right. That's one thing that he does like is a winger. And I don't even think that he's going to need to really even push Kudus. I think Kudus naturally is going to think new manager, new start. You know, even if he does want to leave in the summer, I think he's going to want to end the season on a high because probably by his own admissions, he knows he's probably not had a good season. He's not living up to the talent that he has. He'll know that. He's not. He's been lazy, and perhaps some of the laziness in certain games has been because he just does not feel comfortable in the system that Lopetegui employed, right? So I think maybe under Potter, he's just going to go out there and shine. I'm really hoping that's going to be the case. But with that question, though, Gal, with that question, so with Kudus and Paqueta, say going, it doesn't make me feel this will weaken the squad. Well, if they have a good half of the season and we sell them, we get good money for them, then maybe not, because we could reinvest that. You know. So yeah, maybe it won't.
Yeah, I think. What's this? What's this new Gikoris? Is that a keeper? 42 million.
Huh?
Who's Gikori's? Gikori?
No, he's a striker. He's a striker. He plays
it?
for he's
Denmark.
playing in the Portuguese league. Eh?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. He's a
Making a move for
striker.
Denmark international Conrad Harder after appointing Conrad Harder. Oh God.
Harder.
Sorry. Yeah, harder, higher, lower than 5. You say. In order to, so 50 million euros, 42 million pounds. Why is there such interest in Harder? As much interest in the other striker, Victor Gyökeres.
Yeah, he's
Sporting
quality.
Lisbon.
Yeah, he's quality, mate. He's the guy that we were talking about the other day, Gary.
Right, okay.
Yeah, he was playing at Coventry, and he banged in. I'm looking now, 38 goals in 91 appearances. At Sporting, he's got a goal a game. He's 50 and 50. He's been on fire in the Champions League. But the thing is, I mean, he's been linked with other big clubs, like with respect, bigger clubs than West Ham. So I
Chris,
don't know, mate.
there is no bigger club than West Ham. I've told you. I've explained
true.
why tonight.
I'll take it back, mate.
But look, when he started, I agree. At the moment, that's where we are in the pecking order. But this is why I loved what Starting did with Kudus and whatever so much, because, actually signing those players rather than just saying we're trying to sign them. It kind of it made me think, maybe there's a new West Ham coming out here. I don't think you can undersell that. There's no way.
Have we got the money, Gal? I mean, this is the question I don't have the answer to right now. That even if
no. Get him an HP. Get him an HP.
Yeah, but okay, which is fair enough, but we still need to have some form of money, right? Even if we're paying on the drip. But I think if you look at what we have right now, do we need to sell in order to buy? If you're looking at a striker like, and I can't pronounce his name, Gyökeres, whatever his name is, if we're looking at a player like him, how can we actually afford to, how can the board sanction a deal like that with that kind of money? It's expensive.
I'm telling you now, in the summer, Moyes will come back for Ward-Prowse, for Souček, and for Soufal. I'm telling you, even Soufal. I'm telling you.
No,
not
Soufal, man. No,
he's going to pay for Soufal. He is.
Even he knows that Soufal's not the player he was when he signed him. He's not. Sadly, he's lost a yard of pace. He's not quite with it as much anymore, right? Souček, I would agree. Possibly JWP as well.
I fear, says Dad's Army 1234. Good name. I fear the West Ham fans the most in case they. I fear the West Ham fans the most in case they expect too much too soon and drive Potter out. No, I think, look, there's a small number. You've only got to look at the comments in the thread, which have been, thank you very much, people. They've all been largely positive. I've been on every social media platform today. It's all been very, very positive. I think people are relieved to see, number one, an Englishman who speaks clearly, and number two, somebody who's actually bringing a completely different idea into how to run this club and a completely different team. I will explain some of the horrors from the previous regime tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that.
I don't want to ruin this show with it.
I'm looking forward to it. I know it, but I'm looking forward to you talking about it. But I think, talking about expecting too much too soon, I don't think so. I think I think most West Ham fans feel the same as us. We just want to kind of consolidate a little bit, just get the feel-good factor back at West Ham. That's it.
We're not going to get relegated, so let's not get slaughtered. That's what I said. I just want a bit of respect again. I don't want Arsenal. I don't want to go to Arsenal with them full knowing they're going to get 35 chances at our goal. Right? I go there and restrict them to a couple of chances, and if they do really well and put them away and we lose, so what? It's a tight game. They've had a game. They've had a proper game.
Yeah, exactly.
Liverpool are the best supporters. Don't be so silly.
I'll put this one up, right?
How can you say that?
If your missus was at the West Ham Liverpool game the other week, right? I'm telling you now, she wouldn't be saying that because Liverpool barely made a noise,
they
right?
Were terrible.
They were awful, honestly. And I was really surprised by that because, to be honest with you, I don't dislike Liverpool. I think they're a good club, great heritage.
I like Liverpool. Yeah, I like City as well.
Yeah, but I don't like City. But anyway, with regards to
Liverpool, I like the city of Liverpool.
Okay, all right. Really? Okay. Yeah. But regardless, no, Liverpool were awful that day. Really bad. I was actually quite surprised, bearing in mind how much they turned us over by. Yeah, they weren't good.
I know. And you could say that, but I've been to Anfield where they sing "You'll Never Walk Alone," get the scarves out, and then go quiet for the rest of the game.
I think even when they're a few goals up, mate, they weren't even singing. It was just like, really? If that was West Ham, we'd be flipping singing our asses off, wouldn't we?
This is true. We are due a double manager bounce because we didn't get one under Lopetegui. That's right, Cookie Hammer.
I've told you before we did. We got that win at Dagenham and Redbridge pre-season, mate. That was the bounce.
True. That was big.
Don't underestimate how big that was. That was when, Irving scored. So, come on.
I was told the other day by someone I trust dearly, right, that someone who works for him knows one of the youth teams. What is his mate? Same age, yeah. And he said even as early as the summer training camp out in the States, even then, this youth team player was saying, I don't think this is going to work. The players are not taking to it. So
In fairness, mate, all of the fans felt that as well, though. When you're watching
Yeah.
the preseason games, out in the US, also the ones prior to that, over here, it really wasn't impressive at all. It was actually quite worrying. It really was. So yeah, I can totally understand why the players were saying it, because I think as fans we could see it as well.
Trudge, he said today that he's going to live in London. He's not going to commute. So I guess what he's going to do is live where Moisey lived, a flat in Canary Wharf, and keep his main home down in Brighton, but a flat in Canary Wharf. That's where they all live. A lot of players live over there as well. You remember, I think neighbours, Soufal and Souček were neighbours of Moyes when they used to bring him a pie.
Yeah.
So, Moyes, what's this say? Oh, don't Moyes to Everton, and Everton signed Souček for $4 million. Right, let's go down to the bottom of the comments very quickly. Anything else you want to discuss, Chris?
No, mate. I mean, apart from the Villa game tomorrow, I think we said enough about Potter. I'm actually keen to understand, keen to hear what the chat are thinking about the Villa game tomorrow. How do you think we're going to fare against Villa?
It's an interesting question, actually. Yeah, interesting question. How do you think we're going to fare against Villa tomorrow, Chris?
I mean, it's almost like an impossible question to answer, isn't it? Really, because new manager, you'd expect a bounce. He's only been he's taken one training session, so he doesn't know the squad well enough right now. He doesn't. Yeah. So it's a real tough one. But what I'm hoping and what I'm expecting is I want the players to go out there and give it their all. I want them to work their bollocks off, right? More than they have done every single game this season. I really expect that as the bare minimum, because they want to impress the new gaffer. So with that in mind, I would like to see us take Villa very, very close and hopefully nick it. That's what I would like to see. So I'm hoping maybe a 1-0 win or a 2-1 win. That would be my hope for tomorrow.
Do you think he'll play any youngsters against Villa? Well, who knows? Who knows, Ryan? But the thing is, I would have thought it's a bit early, because he's going to need to get to know his older players first. I mean, look, a personal view, bearing in mind of the sheer impact he had at Wickham in League One, player of the season and everything else, and the sheer impact he's having in the Championship at Portsmouth, where he's looking amazing. I would consider bringing Potsy back.
I'd love that. I've been calling that for a good number of weeks now, since we've been leading up to the window. I'd really like to bring him back. But I think, I suppose if you're in Potsy's shoes, you're also going to be thinking, I'm the star man at Portsmouth right now. I'm learning my trade a little bit. If I go back to West Ham, am I going to get enough game time that would warrant me coming back? That's the question that's going to be on his mind.
Under him, it'd be different. I think it's a different way. I think he'd frame it differently. In Lopetegui, with Lopetegui, he'd be sitting on the bench for the rest of the season. It'd be a complete waste of time. I think there would have to be certain assurances, and it can't be a case of whoever works with youngsters needs to take the attitude that Pellegrini did with Rice, and that is they're going to make mistakes, they're going to fuck up. Yeah. Guess what? You give them another chance, you show faith in them until they come good, right? Some of them won't come good, some of them will. But going back to what about Paqueta, will he leave, blah, 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 won't get the best out of him. Well, look, for 2 seasons now, we've seen Paqueta used pretty badly. Moyes stashed him out on the left and saved him. He used him as a defender, really, for 70 minutes of the game, then let him roam in the middle where he could do his flair bit, right, and try and set up a goal. Lopetegui just completely misused him and put him everywhere. I mean, he didn't know what he was doing, because clearly the players didn't understand the instructions. None of them understood the instructions, or some of them did and some of them didn't, so it was chaos. Well, I'm fascinated to see what he will do with Paqueta, because one thing's for sure, he's not going to stash him on the left-hand side and let him play for the last 20 minutes. And he's definitely not going to give him a free, no-disciplined role in the middle of the pitch, because midfield is everything to this side. Yeah. So it's going to be fascinating to see what he does. But one thing's for sure, I'm sure Paqueta will understand the job he's being asked to do.
Well, yeah, you'd hope so.
How are we going to set up format and player-wise for the game? Well,
I was going to ask that question. I was literally going to say that. Yeah.
It's 3-4-3. I think Tadebo's still injured, isn't he? So I think you're looking at Kilman, Mavropanos, and maybe Cresswell as a back three. I don't know who you're going to use. I mean, look, if I was a new manager coming in and I needed a wing back, a fast, pacey wing back with a bit of an eye for a cross, I might be tempted to put Skulls in as a left wing back. And it's still open to debate as to whether Wan-Bissaka as a right wing back is going to tick the box for. Because I really like Wan-Bissaka, so I'll be disappointed with this. But is he going to be a right wing back that Potter wants in his team, or isn't he? Because he's not a natural wing back; he's a full back, isn't he?
Well, he is. That's his best position. It's been his
Yeah.
position most of his career until Lopetegui signed him. But I don't know. I don't think Potter is going to start with any youth players or youngsters tomorrow. I don't see that happening because from his perspective, this is a cup game, right? It's a one-off. You either win, you're through, you're out. If you lose, so I think he's going to want to go there, and I think he's going to want to get a result. So I think he's going to probably go with, I'll say the tried and tested, but basically more senior, experienced players. That are used to playing in big, and it is a big game for us tomorrow. Let's make no mistake about it. It's the first game under Potter. We need to go out there and need to put on a performance. So I do think that maybe putting the youngsters in, even though I suppose as West Ham fans we love it when we see a youngster make it, start. Of course we do. I think it's probably maybe a bit too soon at the moment. Too much of a risk.
By the way, before we conclude this show, we're probably going to go for another 10, 20 minutes, right? But it's Villa's 150th birthday tomorrow.
Yeah.
So they were founder members of the league in, must have been 1875. yeah, 1875, isn't it? That's 150 years ago. That's a bloody long time, isn't it? So that explains why they're playing in a one-off kit tomorrow. Special kit.
Well, let's hope we can upset their party, mate.
Birthday. Let's ruin their birthday. I like doing that. I like Villa. Nothing against Villa, but I want to beat them tomorrow.
Gary, two key players out for them tomorrow, mate. John Duran, we know he's suspended. John McGinn, he's out as well. They are
McGinn's
two
really
big players
important for them. So
Duran,
but I've got a brilliant record up at Villa Park. So fear not, people. I think I've only seen us lose once up there, and that was a 1-0. But me and my dad went up there. It's one of those grounds where me and my dad hardly ever went to football, just us two. It was always with a group of other people, right? But there are two games specifically that I went only with him. Number one was McAvenny's first game when he came back when Paul Ince scored that long ranger. We went up there. We drove up there right last minute. We were right behind the goal when that went in, and then we went up for the semi-final where Harewood scored.
Yeah, nice, yeah.
And then a few seasons ago, when Bobby Zamora scored in a 2-1 win, I think it was Repka's penultimate game. I was corrected the other day. That was, I think, no, it wasn't the last time I went, but every time I go, bloody win.
Well, mate, honestly, don't tempt fate here, but let's hope it continues. Let's hope your run continues, because sadly, just to balance this out, my away record so far this season is absolutely horrific. I don't think I've seen us get a single point on the road for a long time. It's so bad.
It's all going to change, Chris. It's all going to change.
It's got to, mate. It's got to.
I'm driving as well, so it ain't like you got.
You driving or am I? I don't even know if you're driving or I'm driving.
No, I'll drive. We've got to get rid of any bit of bad luck. Potential. Your car is potentially to blame, right?
I don't know. I'm blaming Lopetegui, not my car. Let's get this straight. I'm blaming my fucking car.
Score prediction. So Michael Taylor says we're going to win on penalties. I'm not going to bet us. It's the FA Cup. I want to win. I want to win the competition, right? So I'm going to go for a what we got last time. Villa are going to go 1-0 up. We're going to win 2-1.
I'm going 2-1 as well, Gal. It's the first time we've agreed on a scoreline all season, I think.
Yeah, and you've come off a 3-1, which shows you've pulled out of your depression. It's like every week. It's like, what's the score? It's 3-1. 3-1.
I don't always say that. I don't always say it.
No, just lately. It's been 3-1 every game.
Do you know what it is? It's probably because I just didn't really give a shit anymore, because I just didn't expect to win. So I was like, fuck it, 3-1. It's just throwing it up in the air,
Another Chris says we're going to beat Villa. Yes, we are, Chris. Of course we are. Green badge, good win for us, 11-4. Depends on what team Villa put out. Who cares? They've got Duran and McGinn out, so that's all right, John. It's all right, don't you worry about it. 1-2 win. Yes, Robin. Yes, we are aligned in our thinking. Yes. Hope we go out and beat Villa 2-1. Yes, because we will. Win. Yes. Come on, you ones. Third round, what? Third round draw goes to pens or replay. I don't know. I thought it was just pens now.
I think it is pens, mate. Yeah, I'm sure it's pens.
I think it's all over tomorrow. Can Potter do what Moyes and did it J-Lo, not Eljo, J-Lo couldn't do? Make us play well with 3 at the back. Well, yeah, because it's his system. 3-4-3 is what he played at Brighton largely. Occasionally a 4, but a 3.
He might change it though tomorrow. You might try and be a bit more cautious.
We don't have the goalkeeper necessary to do it. Having said that, someone said a joke of Wes Foderingham, but apparently he's quite good with his feet. So yeah, Craven, imagine those players.
Fotheringham? Are you calling Fotheringham to start tomorrow? Did I just hear that right?
He's good with his feet.
I could give a shit. He might be good with his feet, but he's shit with his hands.
With
and
his
he's
hands.
a goalkeeper. I don't want him in goal. Bloody hell, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want someone that's good there with their feet, let's stick Paqueta in goal, mate. I'm sorry. We can't have Fotheringham in goal. Actually, the good news is, I did see Fabianski training today, so I'm assuming that he's now available.
Yeah, he's fit again. He's fit again. He'll be fine. But once again, when you're talking about, I'd expect him to focus on the midfield first of all, because look, you look at how West Ham have been getting beat. We've been losing the midfield week in, week out for over a year now, since halfway through last season. We've been getting, well, it's ever since Declan Rice left the club, let's face it. I don't think we realise what an impact losing Dec had on us, and it did, didn't it?
Massive.
It did.
He was the legs in the midfield, weren't he? I mean, he was the driving force in our midfield. And this is the reason why I'm calling for Potts, because I do genuinely think that he could be the answer for us moving forward. But
imagine this, though. Imagine this, though. Guilherme winner.
Yeah, that'd be pretty special, wouldn't it? It would be.
Imagine that. Imagine Kudus to Alvarez, right? Up to Fulkrug. Fulkrug slips in Guilherme. Guilherme comes in and chips it over the keeper.
Hold up. No, you missed out Tadibo in that moment as well. Tadibo's in there as well. You know, he's done a little.
No, but he'll be sitting on the bench. He'll be sitting on the bench. So the ball goes out of play. Tadibo throws it quickly to Alvarez, who takes a throw in. He plays it to Somerville, who passes it out to Kudus, who swings it into Guilherme, who volleys it into the top corner. No, Fulkrug ain't played a part in that anyway.
No, Alvarez has got to play a part in this move as well, actually.
Alvarez took a throw in. He took a throw in, a quick throw in, and Tadibo gave him the ball really quickly, right?
All right, good stuff, yeah.
Right, what's this? Villa have CL soon. Yes, they do.
See, that's a really valid point, that is, because that really is going to be the priority for Villa. It is.
What would you prioritise? I would prioritize Champions League, obviously.
Yeah, no brainer.
Football for, isn't it, right?
No brainer, because how often do you get into the Champions League if you're a team like Villa? You know, so they're going to want to prioritise that. So let's hope they play some of their weaker players. Let's just hope that they do that. But bearing in mind,
3-0.
150th birthday or whatever, that does worry me. I don't think they will go weak. I think they'll go strong tomorrow and they'll want to have a good night. I'm sure they will.
We're going to fucking ruin their birthday. They're going to want to forget that 150th birthday kit.
Yeah, fuck it. It's coming home, Gal. It's coming home. The FA Cup is coming home. Yes, it is, mate. I love this. Yeah, it is, definitely.
I don't think we can bring him back, Gal. Oh. You can't stop giving me these stop commenting on what I say 10 minutes later, Greenback. What is it?
Moyes.
Moyes. Oh, no. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm just joking.
Yeah. Oh, we can't bring Potsy back. Yeah, I get you.
Why can't we bring him back? He's our fucking player.
It depends on the deal, actually. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It depends on the type of deal. As much as I would love to win, I'm looking for a 90-minute fighting performance and better organisation before I win. I want both. Arts Model Dockyard.
I just want to see the players working their bollocks off, really working hard, you know, just non-stop. I want to see them leave everything out there on the pitch tomorrow. That's what I want the most. I really want to see that. If we go away from that game and we've got a loss, but you know we've worked our bollocks off and we've given everything, then I'm going to be happy. Every West Ham fan will be happy. If we see that work rate out there, we'd be happy. Let's put it.
There is not a single player in football who's not been a little bit shit and made mistakes when they've been introduced into the men's game as a sort of academy player, a youngster. Right? Always. They learn from their mistakes. They all do.
Yeah. They have to make mistakes to learn, mate. That's the rule of life. That's just life, isn't it?
Well, Rice was a centre-half, wasn't he? And he came in and he scored an own goal and he got dropped and then it was obviously Pellegrini had a similar kind of way about him to Potter in terms of looking at analysing players. He could read a player. He could read that Declan Rice was much more suited to central defensive midfield than centre-half. So he put him there. And then he fucked up a few times. Declan Rice asked for a loan. Pellegrini said, no, I'm going to persist with you. And he did. And he came good. That's the story of Declan Rice.
Gail, what do you make out of this one here? Don't want Rashford, right? There's obviously a lot of noise about this today. Marcus Rashford coming to West Ham. How do you feel about that?
I'm not going to say it. Look, honestly, with Lopetegui there, I didn't want anyone, to be fair. I said it the other week. I said I don't want to invest money in his. You all looked at me open mouthed, right? But I didn't want to invest more money, put good money after bad on what would be Lopetegui's sign-in for a Lopetegui system. Fuck that. Now, this is going to be a case, hopefully, where if Sullivan lets it operate correctly, it will be a case of Stighton and the coach working together to identify the players he wants in what positions, and then Stighton goes and gets the best in class.
It can't be
runs
him though,
past the
can it?
manager.
Marcus Rashford, Gal. This is what I'm talking about. Marcus Rashford, right? There's
I don't really want Rashford. No, if I was given a choice, I wouldn't really want him. No.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either because I think
Billy
he's got
Big
a
Bollocks.
yeah, exactly. He's got an attitude problem. So surely bringing someone like him in right now is going to be the worst fucking move for us. You know,
but
I just don't see that.
But if he were to come in, I'd accept it. Right, I'm not going to start pushing back and
Well, of
kicking.
course you will, and you'll
at the
support
moment,
him.
yeah.
Of course you will.
Yeah.
You back him, but you know, right now when we've got a choice, I'd rather not go with someone like that because yes, he's got talent, but his head's elsewhere, mate. It has been for a number of years now. So I don't want him. I don't.
It's the thing. If Earthy's not getting a game at Bristol, there's little point in having it back in West Ham unless.
But why is he not though, Gary? Because I don't understand
it should be part
that.
of the deal, right? It should be
I
part
know,
of the
I
deal.
know. Yeah, I mean, I know that he did have a spell where he was injured at Bristol, but recently he's just been coming off the bench, and I don't quite get that because, well, maybe he's not good enough. Maybe he's not good enough. Who knows? Do you know what I mean? I guess only time will tell because he's untested, isn't he? Really, he's untested at Premier League level, and clearly at the moment he seems to be pretty untested at Championship level because he's not getting much game time.
Yeah. Just Mac. I'd have Wan-Bissaka right, Kilman centre, Skulls left. I agree with the Kilman centre bit. I don't know what you're talking about. The centre halves. No, it can't be, right? Talking about the
What's a back three?
No, it can't be. You must be talking about the wing backs with Wan-Bissaka on the right wing back, Skulls left wing back, and then Kilman in the centre with probably Mavropanos and more than likely a Cresswell. Because he's played centre half before.
Would you rather, if we were playing a back three, Gal, okay, so let's say, as an example, you're playing tomorrow, if we have a back three, if there's no Todibo, you're playing Dinos, you're playing Kilman, and then you've got one other. And that one other is going to be one of either Cresswell on the left side of a back three, or it's going to be Soufal on the right side of a back three. What would be your preferred option?
So say the options again.
So you're going to either have, right? So obviously by default, it's going to be, if you've got a back three, it's going to be Kilman and Mavropanos because, Todibo's out. So then you've got a choice of either Cresswell playing on the left-hand side of a back three or Soufal on the right-hand side of a back three. What would you prefer?
No. Look, honestly, there's no point. There's no need to play Soufal. You don't need to. Having said that, Soufal might be a better wing-back option. Not a defender, but a better wing-back option. Than Wan-Bissaka.
He's not got the engine.
No, I know he hasn't, but he's actually pretty good at getting forward and getting a ball in. So look,
I'm
going to leave. It depends where how he grades the importance of these different properties and how much actual hardcore defending those defenders have to do. Because we've just come off the back of 2 seasons with Moyes and half a season with Lopetegui, where every defender we've had has been battered most weeks, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, I'll answer my own question here because I would rather Cresswell than Soufal. But my point, the reason I asked this, the reason I'm raising that is because Soufal has played on the right hand side of a back three on numerous occasions.
Yeah, so he'd be fine. He'd be fine.
Well, I'm saying, bearing in mind the options that we have, he is one of them, but wouldn't be my preferred.
But the 2 options we have at the moment at centre half, the 2 mature centre halves we have are Kilman and Mavropanos. They'll be fit and ready and available. You do have Casey as well as a centre half. It depends what. Honestly, look. Let's judge him on their merits when he picks them. And when it comes to kids, don't write kids off. Remember what happened to Declan Rice. I'm not talking to you, Chris. I'm talking to everybody. Don't be tempted to write a kid off, and just because he plays badly in one game, you say shit, he's not. Because people were saying that about Rice.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and I wouldn't write him off because I think there's a player in there, and he's obviously got potential. A lot of people are talking him up, so I think he has got talent. Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily think that you'd play him in a cup game, like the one we've got tomorrow. I don't think that you would do that. I think you want to be playing your experienced pros in that. For me, someone like Casey needs to be introduced into the team. I think if we win against Villa tomorrow, let's say we're, 2 or 3 up and there's 20 minutes to go and, maybe you bring him on for a bit of reinforcement at the back. That kind of situation is when you want to use some of the youngsters so they're not going to be exposed because it can destroy them, as you said, right? They can make mistakes, but you want to kind of negate those kind of potential issues by bringing them into the system, bringing them into the team. But actually, if they did make a mistake, it's not going to have a huge impact on the actual final result because perhaps you're already winning.
I agree with you. But I don't think he's going to do a Sam Allardyce like he did against Forest and put.
No, God, no. That was ridiculous. That was bloody hell. That was absolutely nonsense that day.
So Darren, yes, 3-4-3. Yeah, that is his preferred system. Potter's back three. Potter's three at the back doesn't play wing backs. Yeah, they do. That's what I heard. Don't they? Tell me what they do then.
Well, if they don't, I mean, Christ Almighty, we're going to be wide open, aren't we?
Well,
Three at the back and no wing
well,
backs.
no, I think they do. I think they do. But he tends to use. He does tend to. He has a habit of using wingers as wing backs, if that's what you mean. Craven, imagine where we could finish if, with those players, mate. Because if you're just as solid, say for instance, if you can make yourself just as solid by playing three and having a midfielder who's not Alvarez drop into the back three and form a four, then potentially you don't need to have the wing backs doing defending. Because remember when Moyes played a back five or three at the back, it was really five at the back. It was another way of him defending deep with more players. So that wasn't really a back five. It was a defensive formation. And I think the same with Lopetegui. Yeah. Casey should be excited. Yes, I hope he is. And I hope he gets a chance as well. Because like I said, he's the one player that I actually took quite a lot of interest in at that Wickham game that I went, because I was freezing me nuts off. Because I was stood right behind him, and first of all, he was a big lump. He was massively tall, but he was like a beanpole at Wickham. But he was so good with his feet and so calm and collected, didn't panic at all, and stopped some big chances early on. And that was like a high-profile game, the highest profile game any of them have played to that point. God knows what round it was of that FA Trophy. But now, when you watch him, when you look at him the way he come on the other week, he's built himself up, hasn't he?
He has.
He's starting to, you know.
Same as Skulls as well, though, mate. Same as Skulls as well. He's certainly beefed up a little bit as well, isn't he?
See, again, 4-3-3 tomorrow, Dan. It could be because he might not want to make so many changes with only 1 day's training. Yeah,
that's what I think, because that could completely confuse the players potentially. But then, having said that, playing the formation that they have been playing hasn't exactly been plain sailing either, has it? So you never know.
I mean, there's lots of bids in here. 3-4-2-1 shape. AWB right centre back. Brighton Potter used wingers, and when we defended, they dropped and filled the gaps. Right? Yeah. That's kind of what I meant. What I said in my ham-fisted way just now. Can see Bowen and Somerville as the wingers. Yeah, I think he'll love Somerville. I think he might even like Guilherme. He'll love Kudus as well, though. He'll love Kudus, and I don't
Somerville
know.
Look good.
Two number 10s. That's interesting. 2 number 10s. You see, after that last performance that Jimmy Somerville put in, where he played that beautiful ball out, the first time ball out to Kudus on the right from central, he was surging through midfield. You can't touch him because he's tiny. He's going down. You can't touch him, right? I would be tempted to try Jimmy as a number 10.
Yeah, I think he can. I think he can play that role.
He can do it.
I think the pace as well. The pace that he's got, I think he can actually cut through defenders. He can. I just think. I think with him, he's a bit of a confidence player because, you know, he's not really scored many. He scored 1 goal for us this season. You know, I think his end product. Some people have been questioning a little bit with his shooting, but I think as soon as he gets maybe 1 or 2 goals, plays on a couple of assists, I think it. You know, I think he'll turn into a real player. I just think he needs to get that run of games. And maybe a goal or 2, and I think he'll be some. I do think he's a quite special player, actually. I do.
He will not only. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Randy, Fortune. Just talking to Ryan, it should not happen. Potter will play the players in it. He will, but he'll also do the unexpected. He'll look at the players on what they're good at and what they're bad at, and they might find themselves playing in a completely new position because that's what he does. He's not Lopetegui and Moyes. He's system over everything. He said words out of his own mouth. He does. Sorry, formation over everything. It's specifically formation he spoke about. He said he doesn't care for formations. Right? He's not gonna. You know, like Moyes, you'd have this. The reason it worked slightly better for Moyes is because it was defensive formation. The instructions were simpler, and so you could put someone in a job as a left. Sided defensive midfielder, and you could have a Vlasic player in there, he'd be shit, but it'd be all right. You put Paqueta there, it'd be a bit shit, but you know, they get away with it. They'd look a bit average, but they get away with it, and that's what happened. He got away with it quite a lot, Moyes. By the way, we're on. Let's finish in a minute. We're 401 viewers now. I think we peaked at about 450. Done quite well. Thanks everybody for watching tonight. On X, we've got 126 watching at the moment. 275 on YouTube. Could you just favour? This includes people on X. Could you give us a like on X? Hit the little heart thing on YouTube if you can. Hit the like button, please. Works wonders. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, and I know about 40% of our viewers have not subscribed to the channel, if you would subscribe, that'd be really helpful to us. We are trying to grow. You will see a lot more content out from this point on. I hope you've noticed, but there's going to be lots more. That is the intent, isn't it, Chris?
It is. Yeah, it is. Lots of positive content as well.
Yes,
lots of positive content coming out.
We love West Ham. Well, we love West Ham being successful. We want to believe they're going to be successful, right? As you saw the other week, when it goes all tits up, we're going to get it hump. But that's not our default stage. We're glass half full people, I don't think this will work. Third centre back. Don't think. Well, I don't know. Maybe it could. I've never seen it happen, but I did hear that he's not very good at doing that.
Yeah, it could work. It could work. I mean,
Yeah.
Let's not forget he was never seen as an attacking defender, was he? Until he came to West Ham, he was always, he was an out-and-out fullback, wasn't he? So maybe you could play on the right hand side of a back three. You never know.
But I just remembered actually. Where are we? We're nearly 10 o'clock, and I've still got to record that video for the morning. While it's on me, my poor wife indoors. She's keeping herself company tonight. So there you go. Mind you, she ain't missing me. I see him play. So Jim Baker says I see him play 3-4-2-1. AWB, Kilman, Mavro, midfield, Somerville, Soler, Alvarez, Bowen. I've got a feeling he's going to find a place for Soler, not for Rodriguez, but for Soler. Could do some Paqueta as central attacking midfield. Imagine having 2 central attacking midfielders, Chris. Oh, get me the tissues.
It's unthinkable, man. Yeah, it's unthinkable, isn't
it? Them two setting up Fulkrug. So suddenly Fulkrug's going to go from no service to too much service.
Oh, he's going to go from 1 or 2 goals to the next Haaland.
2 actually.
Actually, I'm not going to say. I'm just joking. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let's believe. Got to believe. It's coming. It's coming. What's this? Non-toxic chat at its very best because Claire instills discipline in the chat. I don't think we've had any arseholes in the chat tonight, have we? You've all been very nice. So at least I think so. She'll tell me afterwards. But no, some really good comments in there. You can tell by all the comments and the volume of them that people are really enthusiastic about this, and I'm delighted to see it. I've got to be honest. Makes me feel more warm and fuzzy inside.
No, it's great. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? We've been going through 6 months of absolute shite. So it's nice to see people with a bit of positivity. I think we also need to be realistic that, we may not win tomorrow, but let's not get on Potter's back or West Ham's back and think, oh, shit, that's the first loss straight away. It's going to be a tough game tomorrow. Let's look at it for the longer term. That's what we need to be looking at, and also being a little bit patient because he's a new guy coming in. He's got to understand the players. There's a lot for him to do. So like I said earlier on in the video today, this is a big job. It's a big job that he's got on his hands here. So we're going to need to give him time.
So look, I'm going to finish on this comment because I think it's a good end to the show. That followed by Claire's choice of music for the outro. But yeah, look, please, like I said earlier, if you could, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. Really helps us a lot. Give video a like. Also, hit the little heart button on X as well. I'm not very good at this, am I? Until then, Claire says, back in the 90s, Upton Park, they always played things can only get better. And I think they finally can. So on that happy note, come on, you irons. Fuck it all.